Happy Thanksgiving! Now, I could go on and on about what I'm grateful for during this episode, but you know me better than that. I always come with a twist. And the gratitude episodes, seriously, they're pretty boring. You know how some people would do a grateful post every day in November? It always made me more annoyed, not because people were being grateful for what they had publicly. I mean, more power to you that you're giving thanks to the air and the good fortune that continues to come your way. But because I wish they would use that energy to highlight something they gave or help someone else instead. Maybe I'm a little bit bitter, so let's talk about it. I'm pretty sure I wrote a blog post last year called Gratitude Fatigue on Thanksgiving Day last year. Okay, I just checked. I really did do that. And it was on the realization of how jaded I've become. Maybe not much has changed. I was actually proud of how I wrote that post. I'll put it in the show notes if you're interested. But if you're listening on the day that this is released, it's Thanksgiving today. If you're in the United States, I hope you're spending it with loved ones and the political course is at a minimum. In our house, Thanksgiving is part of Christmas season. My husband starts decorating November 1st, and Christmas music is on rotation nonstop at the hair lair. My husband grew up in a house that had the basement decorated for Halloween and Christmas year-round. It was actually set up to look like an Irish pub, and it had all kinds of fun stuff. It had animatronics, a pool table, it had a dance floor, disco ball, 2 jukeboxes, Christmas tree, the works. It had everything. It was very, very kitschy. And his parents, my in-laws, were so much fun. And that spirit certainly carried on with Chris. So if you're around my neighborhood, feel free to go by my house. It's always fun around Christmas and Halloween to see what he's come up with. And there's nothing like the twinkle in my kids' eyes as the holidays roll in. Hopefully the holidays can give you some of that joy and that sparkle as well. But this year, so much is different than the years past. I left my job in April to pursue this podcast and all my creative endeavors. And I've done a lot of crazy stuff to find myself since then. I've done 12-hour walks, solo overnight hikes. I'm working with a shaman, doing lots of therapy, lots of time in nature. I performed in an Afrobeats dance series, and y'all, that was a stretch for me. I did magic mushrooms as a form of therapy, of which I'm going to actually be doing again this weekend, so stay tuned for that. I climbed the Manitou Incline in Colorado, and the list goes on. And there's so much wonder and so much insight and so much curiosity that has kind of been spurred up of this, but also kind of a trust in myself and my own abilities. And as I've reflected back on this year, I've been so much happier since leaving the corporate world. I've had the best time reconnecting with my kids and husband as a way less stressed mom and wife. And I've loved the time to explore a new reality and figure out what's next and how to spin my podcast into a real business. And to be honest, I feel like I've really fallen short on the podcast. I've gone on a quest to rebrand this podcast as it's truly evolved since I started it 3.5 years ago. So I hired a personal brand agency that is focused on serving purpose-driven individuals or mission-driven individuals and is very aligned with what I've tried to do. And as I've dug deep into the meat of what I'm hoping to accomplish with this podcast, it feels way more messy. It's kind of like cleaning out a closet. I mean, you pull everything out, throw it on the bed. You're not sure where to begin, what to throw out, what to keep, and all of it feels overwhelming. Some of it feels so overwhelming that you won't even start. But this process can clear a space for something much, much greater. And so I decided to do this with my entire life. And I open a challenge to anyone who participates to do it with me. And I call it the December Clearing Challenge. And basically, it's a pre-New Year clean out of not just physical items, but also clearing out some of the mental and emotional baggage that just doesn't serve you. So if you want to join me for this free challenge, just go to allisonhair.com/clearing or click on the link in the show notes. So I'm busy in the background putting the finishing touches on this challenge and coming up with lots of non-obvious but so satisfying ideas for cleaning out. And while the physical stuff can feel really good to get rid of, freeing, liberating, it's the emotional and mental junk that I'm particularly most excited about, like setting a boundary or getting one thing off your chest that you've been holding in. There's a Facebook group where I will be the most active and keep everyone connected, and we can celebrate our losses there. But here's what the whole purpose is. If you've ever heard of the term technical debt, that's what we are untangling. So I've worked in software sales for many years. So if you are in the software industry, you probably know what technical debt is. But if not, and I imagine most of you are probably not, technical debt is also known as code debt. It's what happens when software development decisions are made based on prioritizing speed over the most well-designed code. It's usually a consequence of using quick fixes and patches rather than full-scale solutions. And what that looks like in software is usually the systems move a lot slower. They don't talk to each other. You may have compounded modules that don't talk to each other very well, or you're in and out of different programs, platforms, instead of having kind of a better integrated experience where you can kind of do everything. Like you can do most things from your phone, right? But it's kind of like having to go to your phone and to your computer and your iPad and logging into different systems. So that is kind of the experience of technical debt. And I feel like our lives accumulate technical debt. We keep buying stuff to make us feel better. The new outfit, the lipstick, that makeover, the shoes that look super hot, but feel like you're going to break an ankle. They are the epitome of 1-hour shoes. Some shoes are like the 1-minute shoe. Even the massages and self-care that kind of feel better, and you're happy that you're doing it, but you still feel just as tight as before. It's really some of the shadow energy that needs to be moved, not just the physical energy. Or that friendship that passed its prime and shifted into something less friendly, just something that's no longer aligned. But instead of layering more crap on top of your already established crap, what if you did a total overhaul and could start the new year clean with less heaviness, less clutter, and more opportunity to invite a better solution in, and do it bit by bit, day by day? It's not so overwhelming. You can just tackle one day at a time and tackle one thing one day at a time, and have some other folks cheering you on and giving you new ideas and doing it along with you. So if a nice little shedding sounds like something you could use, join me at allisonhair.com/clearing. We start December 1st, and you will have a prompt every day to help keep you on track. And I'll tell you, one of the things I've been doing some of these things beforehand, and one of them that I am so excited to tell you about, because I can't believe what kind of joy came out of this. But I keep getting these pop-ups that my phone is out of storage. And so they say you can just upgrade to $10 a month to have, I don't know, a terabyte or whatever it is of storage, or you can get rid of some stuff. So, I'm in a position where we're down in income. So I'm trying to save money as wherever I can. So I went back and went through all of my pictures for the past year, and was deleting a lot of, either duplicates or stuff that, I think when I post on Instagram stories, it always copies something onto my camera roll. So I was getting rid of those, or some of the promotional stuff that I no longer need. So I'm cleaning it out, and I'm going back, and I'm like, wow, just revisiting. And I'm doing this through my computer. I have an Apple, I have an iPhone and a Mac. And I'm doing this through iCloud, through my pictures, and just looking through all of the memories and activities and adventures and good times that I've had this year. It sure was great. I think I was in just a crappy mood when I started. and just kind of remembering that. And so I'd encourage you to even just go back through the past year and maybe make a list of all the adventures you were able to do, whether it was with friends, with family, by yourself, things that you might be proud of. And I swear you will find a smile on your face. And some of you who may be listening have maybe gotten some pictures like, hey, remember this? You know, how cute were our kids or whatever it is. And so it's been fun to kind of reconnect and revisit and see how far I've come and see how far we've come. So I highly recommend it. It was really, really fun. And so as I'm clearing space and subsequently selling and consigning lots of stuff I no longer use, I'm trying to be really intentional with what I bring in as something new. And this year in 2022, I had one New Year's resolution, just one. And that was to bet on myself. And good Lord, I sure did that 6 ways to Sunday this year. And it's been a scary ride. It's been a messy year. And one I'm thankful for, and one I'm currently exhausted by. So much has been going on behind the scenes, and I've given more detail about this on my Patreon episodes. If you're interested, you can become a Patreon member at patreon.com/culture changers and get the real, the stuff I don't put out publicly. But I'm frantically working on a business idea that will specifically help burnt out female professionals. And it will be experience-based and will essentially offer otherwise drained women a taste of some real peace that they can access anytime and anywhere. It's almost like a battery jump, you know? It's kind of like creating a paradise right where you are. But it only happens when you take yourself out of your routine and say yes to something new. And so my role is I'm going to be facilitating some of these new experiences to help kind of add a jolt to your life and bring more peace, bring more possibility. It's going to be really exciting. I can't wait to kind of unveil what it is as I'm fleshing it out. And in fact, I'm working on an experience right now where we are going to hike up an active volcano in the most beautiful, pristine place. How fun is that? I have some real tricks up my sleeve on this one. So if you're interested, stay tuned, send me a note. Make sure you follow me on IG. Also go to AllisonHare.com/new and tell me what you love around that, because I'm gaining information and taking polls on some of those experiences too. And I'm still open to finding a new name for the podcast. I appreciate all the suggestions that have come in so far. And, you know, as I said, this podcast has been around for 3.5 years. It's had 3 different names already. And it feels like Culture Changers, while I don't know, I kind of think it's a cool name. I don't know that anybody is Googling, how do I be a culture changer? You know? And so I want to have, I want to have something more clear. And I'm looking to change the name to something bold, edgy, and very clear. Like, what do you get by listening? And it's probably best that you answer that question. What do you get by listening to this podcast? Especially for my loyal, longtime listeners, I'm so grateful to you, my Culture Changers lifers. And I have to say, friend to friend here, finding a new name for the podcast and boiling down what this podcast gives to people has been one of the most challenging exercises I've ever done. Why is it so hard? But if you have some ideas, go to AllisonHare.com/new. I'm giving $50 to you if I choose your name or the name that you've suggested. But let's get back to Thanksgiving. While this year has been a struggle on a lot of fronts, and really, all of those fronts that it's been a struggle has been stemming around money. And who hasn't? The markets are threatening recession if we're not in one already. Inflation is high. Many big corporations are doing layoffs. But what does money symbolize anyway, especially in the U.S.? And it has everything to do with deconstructing self-worth and worthiness in general. And I'm coming to the conclusion that I'm going to need to be earning an income again. and like a real substantial income. And I'm looking for ways to work and focus on the podcast and work on something that is more aligned with what I'm doing. Maybe it's in the podcast space or as a media personality or contract sales or something. And, I'm looking for ways to work and make some money. You can tell I'm like stumbling over my words here because it's a hard truth that I was hoping that I didn't have to make and was hoping I would be further, but I'm just not. And I have to kind of lean into contributing and earning money for my family is as noble. I was hoping to kind of gallivant in and figure this all out and just have a thriving business, but it takes time. And, I think because I'm taking so much time to untangle the mess, unclutter, and just take out all the ugly stuff and the stuff that I've been hiding from and embarrassed by, and taking it and figuring out, what do I want to do with this? And how can I serve in this world? What is my purpose? That's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm looking for ways to work and focus on the podcast and the new business and the blog and. And to be honest, I'm a little bummed. I'm a little bummed about it. I was hoping that I could get to a more stable spot with the podcast sooner. And as usual, I believe I can manifest all I want, but the timing may have its own pace, and that timing does not match mine. And I realize that whenever I get too stuck on how I'm going to earn money and I stress out over mapping my future, I totally spin out. And that's what's happening. That is what's been going on the past few weeks or the past week or so, where I've just kind of come to a screeching halt to the point where I didn't even know if I would. I think because this podcast episode, because I'm kind of walking into it sad and confused, that I was afraid to turn on the mic and record because I didn't want that Allison to come forward, especially on Thanksgiving. I wanted a more grateful Allison. And, I guess I just have to kind of be real here. And, so for now, I'm going to appreciate the mess. And I get the sense that these come to Jesus moments are essential to the journey, and be thankful for my family and friends. And I'm truly, truly thankful for you, the listener, having your ears and mind share week after week. And when you reach out and tell me something moved you, or reach out and tell your friends that they need to hear an episode that they've heard here, or you take the time to leave me a review on Apple Podcast or Castbox, or even a 5-star tap on Spotify, that means so much. Whenever you can tune in, means the world to me. And a big fat giant thank you to Andrea Crane, my girl, who joined the Patreon community and is supporting the efforts of this show. It means more than you know, Andrea, and I love you. And if you'd like to support Culture Changers and get the episodes ad-free, early, and get bonus content, you can subscribe to patreon.com/Culture Changers. In the meantime, happy holidays. They're here. We're here. I'm excited to see what the next few weeks will bring for all of us as we bring in the good fortune of a new year. And I'd be interested to hear how your Thanksgiving is going. Are you excited about it? Are you dreading it? Are you eating turkey? Are you cooking? Are you doing, or if you're listening to this beyond Thanksgiving, how was it for you? How was it really? Are you shuffling between families and driving all over? Are you unable to see your kids or spend time with your kids? Or are you with them and wishing you had a break? Are there weird political conversations? I want to hear it all, and hope that you can DM me or send me an email at allison@allisonhair.com. But my advice today is be good to yourself so you can be even better for others. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Happy holidays.